I love hack and slash.
Got it.
It's just I don't know.
If a game is too hard, do you think that the developer should make it easy for you?
Nope.
Done.
Hey everybody, welcome to an exciting episode of the 8-Bit Closed Fist. We are your hosts, Ronell and LJ.
Yep.
And we are live again. Welcome here on YouTube. If you didn't know, if
very exciting. Very
just
exciting.
Listening, then shame on you.
Look, we got the Joker trailer that I'm extremely hyped for. I'm very excited. I am very interested for everything.
Yeah.
No, I'm not excited for everything. What are you talking about? Only for the cool stuff, man. Other than that, which you have just ruined for me completely.
Yeah, sure.
We have a little study that came out about millennials having sex.
Yeah, and
that's a thing.
I'm on the fence about that. I don't really understand, but I get it.
But other than that, we have one of the most amazing guests that we've had in a very long time. No shots taken at any of our other guests. But this young fella here is, let's just say I went through his Instagram page and I think I scrolled to the bottom. All right. And it was not, I wasn't looking for any information, for research, anything. I literally forgot. For a minute, I was at work and I was just like, well, I think I got to the bottom of this. Why did I go to the, I don't know. Other than that, he's a actor, a model. I don't know why I said that.
Model.
He's a model. And like I said, I went to the bottom of his Instagram page. I don't know. What I'm saying is that he's really attractive. And you'll see in a couple of seconds because
he's joining us.
Yep.
And that's great. And you talked away from your mic.
I did.
He yells at me all the time about it, so I just want to get on him about it. So other than that, we're going to just go into it, real quick. Let's get to the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's later in the episode, but right now we got to go through, the formalities.
For sure. All the great.
Yeah, so right now, Joker.
Yeah, man.
Unfortunately, if you didn't get the anger from his voice earlier, we had a little argument earlier, and he told me that every time, this is his words. I'm saying it now. Joker's going to be the best Joker movie ever. And I was like, oh, cool. But you say this is going to be about a lot of things. And he says, no, I only say it about the good things. And I was like, I'm not going to get into it. And I tried to give him some examples, but he didn't want to hear it.
Relax.
All I'm saying is I'm the movie guy.
This is something that to be true.
I'm the movie guy.
Okay.
And right now, from the trailer, it's not grasping me. When we were seeing those hidden Subway Instagram posts, I was like, oh, look, he's on the train and I was excited. This trailer just seemed a little too origin story for me, and I don't need an origin story.
Look, anyway, my exact words were, this will be.
That's the problem right there. This is going to be, but go ahead.
My favorite Joker, all right, which is, you can't argue that with me. You can't argue that with me.
I cannot do that.
So I think that it will be the best Joker for me because I didn't really care for the other Jokers before Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, I honestly didn't care about any of the Jokers. I didn't care about none of the makeup. Look, you guys heard that.
Oh yeah, we're getting opinions already. Why not though?
Look, man. First off, they weren't maniacal enough. When I think of Joker, I don't care for the goofy part of him that much. I mean, I like it. I get it. It's Joker, but I like the maniac, the insane, the
mastermind,
beautiful chaos that he has.
There it is.
And I also don't like complete chaos. I get that he wants to see the world burn, but I like it most when he has when he's relatable, when he's making sense to me in his own way, where I can really understand his point of view, not just murder, kill. And I believe that this Joker is going to do that, and I believe Heath Ledger had a little bit of that where I could kind of relate to him. Other ones, I didn't care for it. Didn't care for the acting really. Didn't care for the way they looked. Didn't care for the way they talked. Just whatever.
I am a fan of Joker, period.
Okay.
When it comes to the actors, I honestly could care less.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Heath Ledger, rest in peace.
Right.
That was great.
He was.
But I don't think this new is going to be anything different. It's going to just be another Joker, man. And from what I'm seeing from the trailer, it just seems like he's trying to lead up. We were having the group conversation and someone said, it just seems like I'm going to sit there for an hour until I get Joker. And then there's going to be like 40 minutes left and the movie's over. So,
well, we have another guest, and I want his opinion because it looks like we are.
Can I chime in on this?
It looks like we are completely on opposite ends of the spectrum
Can I
right now.
chime in on this? So I watched the trailer a few times actually, and I am in agreement. I do not like origin stories for villains.
I get it.
A lot of what makes villains good is that I don't know why they are who they are and why they are.
That's believe. I
Like
get
I
that.
do not want to know why Freddy Krueger became Freddy Krueger. I personally don't give a fuck.
I feel it.
I don't care why Joker became Joker. You showed up, you had a calling card, and you just created havoc.
I get it.
If I find out why you are the way you are no longer that much of a villain to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh shit, you got bullied as a fucking kid. Like,
It all
nigga,
makes sense.
go to motherfucking therapy, bro. You feel me? Like, I don't want to know that, a girl broke your heart in the 7th grade, and all of a sudden you just kill a bunch of women.
I mean,
Like,
what if it's something really useful, really like it makes sense? Like, let's say, I don't know, like this guy, he was having a regular life. His grandma went to the store and
and
then
then she got shot. If there's an origin story of something tragic, on the other end of the spectrum, there's a way that you can redeem that you can get healing and you can help yourself from that.
I feel it.
So I don't want to know why. Like I don't want to know like, oh, so and so kidnapped your dog and murdered that motherfucker and you watched it hang. Like
I mean, what about a Thanos kind of thing?
I don't want to
I
know
don't
why.
care for sure
Well, see,
about
but
that.
Thanos is not. I'm not gonna say he's different from that, but the fact that because this wasn't an origin story. An origin story is like how you grew up. From MCU and the comics are a little bit different. Obviously, they got to do it
sure,
differently,
for
right?
sure.
So Thanos in the comics
Right.
is to impress death. That's not an origin story.
sure.
Like, I like this woman, and I'm gonna kill every fucking body to this bitch know that I like you.
Facts.
That's not an origin story.
Very
That's like,
factual.
hey, I found a bad one, and how can I get you, bad one?
Well,
kill everybody. I'm gonna say no more, baby. I'm gonna kill half of every fucking body. That's not enough. I'll kill 75%. That's not an origin story.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And in MCU, obviously they have to make it different so it makes sense for the films. So like you saying like, oh, my planet was on the brink of extinction, nobody listened. I kind of get that.
Mm-hmm.
Now for me as a comic geek, like, all right, I know the origin story in the comics, which is canon, versus the MCU, so I'm not mad about what MCU did.
Okay.
But like
right.
for Joker, I don't really give a fuck that she was a
Whatever he
failed
was.
Whatever.
comic. Like I don't care you was working at McDonald's. I don't give a fuck. Like all I care about is when Batman shows up with his stupid ass.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
And,
agree.
and you just showed up and slapped his ass with a cane. That's all I care about.
I dig it. I
With
understand
that
the
being
point of view.
said, I'm going to watch it.
Exactly.
With that being said, Joaquin
Exactly.
Phoenix is one hell of a
There it is.
motherfucking actor.
That's
He's an
what I'm
amazing
saying.
actor. I'm not saying it won't be good. All I'm saying is I
all I'm
don't
saying.
care about his origin story. And it looks like an episode of Atlanta.
Why? Because
all
boys
the
in there?
Because everybody's there. And I think it was filmed in Atlanta. Like, and I love Atlanta. to
More
death.
likely for me to watch it.
A top 3 show for me.
Okay.
Depending
Sure.
on what we're talking about.
For sure.
Okay.
Love Atlanta. And it looks like a long episode of Atlanta, which will probably be amazing because shit, Atlanta's amazing.
I feel it. And some of the shading and some of the like
Not even as that, it just looks like an episode of Atlanta. And once again, if you're asking me, I don't really care. I don't need an origin story about a villain. What makes villains villainy is that I don't know why you are the way you are. That's what makes you scarier and more dangerous and more mysterious and more whatever it is
Okay.
that makes you a villain.
I
don't want to know like, nigga, the sun didn't come up that day and you got mad, bro. Like that's not
I mean, what if it's really believable? I mean, I'm sorry. What if it's
Listen.
really like
John Wick dog got kidnapped and killed by a nigga that carjacked him.
Nope.
Like it's believable. You can leave your car, your dog in the car, and they can hijack your car, and like, it's
I don't see
believable.
it.
But I don't give a fuck about that part.
Well,
Like,
I agree to the same thing that if that's the case, which generally I don't care for origin stories either, especially because nowadays I know already. We get it. Spider-Man, I don't need one. No one do I need one.
see, heroes, I kind of get.
But for my
Villains?
thing, if it's the villains, if we don't care for origin stories for villains, we don't care for origin stories for whoever
Well,
else.
you might need an origin story for heroes. Like, what made you take a virtuoso, or a virtuous?
It depends on the superhero. It depends on why. We don't need 15 Superman. I mean, excuse me.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is what I meant. You already knew.
For sure.
We don't need 15
Like
of them.
Deadpool, I don't need an origin story for.
Well, why not?
Why?
His is cool though.
It's a great story.
I didn't say it wasn't good. All I'm saying is like you're an assassin. I don't give a fuck what your origin story is. Yeah, I pay you. You kill people, good or bad.
Okay,
And that's cool for me.
Maybe because that's it, because he's an anti-hero.
But the origin story for
My point.
Deadpool is the cancer part of it. That's the origin.
You can
story.
you can talk about that at the bar, like they had, like, hey,
sure.
I had cancer and I got the experiment, my nigga. I'm good. All right, cool. I'm gonna kill. Like, I don't need a whole like.
Is it boring? Do you
I
think
didn't
it's boring?
say it was boring. I'm just saying I don't need it. You could have done without that and added some other shit.
Guardians
if
of
you
the
wanted
Galaxy.
to.
Oh, that's heroes type.
It was Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't necessarily an origin story for everybody. It was like how they came together. And even that is MCU changed because the canon is different in the comics, how they came together.
Okay.
So I get that. So I'm never mad about when a film changes what the comics say. Because
Right.
you have to. You can't keep
You
it
should.
the same.
I think you should.
You
Correct.
should. You can't keep it the same.
For sure.
So I get that. So with Guardians of the Galaxy, it was like this how they came together. Fine. Like we was at the game at the gym shooting hoops, and I was like, "Nigga, I fight." I was like, "I fight too." All right, let's fight together.
So, given the fact, I'm sorry, what were you about to say?
Nothing. I mean, he's over here dropping knowledge. I'm glad I brought
Man.
that guest. I mean, first off, hold on. Right then and there, let's take that break since he asked me what was I going to say. Let's get a formal introduction.
Hey,
Yeah, let's go for it, man. Because you
Who
just
is
dropping
this guy
all types of
dropping all
knowledge.
am I talking about myself or y'all going to introduce?
Jesus
What we doing?
Christ.
You're talking about yourself.
I'm
Origin
talking about
story,
myself.
man.
You're
What
gonna
is
let
it?
them know who you are. What is your origin story?
Right. Damn, I hate origin stories.
Are you a
Well,
villain?
hello
It's all
everybody. My name is BJ Williams. I'm a Libra.
Got it.
I'm BJ Williams, man. I do a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of things, man.
There it is.
I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. I've traveled the world a lot. I've been in and out of. I'm a second resident of Los Angeles. I've been
Hey.
in and out my whole life. So, not that I'm homegrown, but I've been around a lot to say that I have some kind of knowledge about LA history and LA life and the culture.
I dig it.
So-
I dig it.
no, but I do not claim to be an expert.
Good.
You know, I come from the athlete world. You know, went to college, played college ball, ran college track, had an opportunity at the pros in football. It didn't work.
Okay.
Got into entertainment as a model first, then as a commercial actor, and then TV and film, and
Dope.
then that is led me to not that didn't lead me to it, but I developed a document series called Can I Be Vulnerable? And it's a series for black men to open up to the world. So it started with my own personal tragedies that happened to me. I started with my own video, and it kind of developed from there. So it spread. So we're like 40 episodes in that are recorded. We're on like episode 28 coming up tomorrow, actually.
Right.
Okay.
It's on Instagram.
It's Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever your vice is, we have it there for you.
There it is.
And I'm saying my personal page is on episode 28. Can I Be Vulnerable? It's weird how it started and how it developed. So everything is kind of behind. I'm up to date on my personal stuff, but nobody comes to my page to look at episodes of other dudes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I didn't develop the social media pages for Can I Be Vulnerable itself till months later.
Right. I get what you're saying.
So like our YouTube page is maybe 3 months behind.
Okay.
They're only on episode coming up, I think 11 or 12.
For sure.
Instagram is on episode 20. You know, the Facebook is on episode 20.
Everything
like,
develops
everything is-
separately, kind
Yeah,
of.
like everything is like behind me. But once again, most of the traction is on Instagram, our Instagram page. But like I said, it's an opportunity for black men to open up, and most of the guys are retired professional athletes, mostly NFL.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, I come from that world, so most of my friends played in the league,
Right.
and had successful careers, or maybe or they had careers. It doesn't matter
sure.
how many years they played. They played. They got
sure.
paid, and that was their thing. So I got some NBA guys. Obviously, I got some entertainment guys. Some some models, some actors, both. And this is your everyday professional black men. You know
And they're telling their own like personal stories that they get to they just choose whatever they want to tell.
I don't tell them what to talk about. They talk about whatever they choose to open up about. Some guys have been most of the guys have been to therapy, which allows them to open up easier. Some guys haven't, and it takes a little while for them to open up. But we've had a variety of stories, man. We've had guys talk about. I've had one guy talk about being a deadbeat dad the first 6 years of his daughter's life. And to hear him talk about that story and to see his development to become the full-time father of a beautiful 18-year-old daughter now, like that was wild. We've had a few guys talk about attempted suicides a couple of times. We've had guys talk about identity issues. We've had guys talk about abandonment issues, like dads were gone, and one of my buddies talked about his dad he got in contact with his father, and his father still won't see him.
Wow.
Like, would have just avoid his calls. Like, hey, I'm here in New York. I want to see you. And his dad just wouldn't hit his line until like a month later.
Oh, sorry, I
Like,
missed your call.
yeah. Oh, something happened.
Jesus
Right.
Christ.
We've had stories about guys coming out as gay. Like, hey, I'm gay. And this is when it happened. And that thing. We've had guys talk about, being a father, being a husband, and how it's cool to love your woman and be with her, and that is
Definitely,
dope. And it's like we've had guys talk about that. We've had guys talk about shit. Recently, one of the more powerful ones was a good buddy of mine talking about losing his wife to sickle cell in the hospital. It was negligence, and
Wow.
having to raise his daughter by himself. Well, it was a village, but him talking about like the first time he had to like do her hair.
Right.
And he just broke down crying. I was like, and I know these stories because we talk about it, but like to see a man on camera
Being vulnerable.
just being vulnerable
Straight
hits
up.
you differently, right?
sure.
So when he said like I had to do my daughter's hair, and he just cried, and I was like,
For sure. What made you start it?
it started with me. I've been going to therapy now for about 4 or 5 years, off and on, and my older brother committed suicide, and that was my catalyst to me going to therapy. Like he committed suicide, and what made that significant is that the day it happened everybody called me to solve the problem. I was here. I was in LA. We do this beach volleyball barbecue every Memorial Monday. We've been doing it now, I think, going on 6 years. One particular Memorial Monday, I got the call from his fiance, like he tried to hang himself and he was gone. When I tell you I was drunk off my motherfucking ass, I was faded. So I got the call. I'm like,
For sure.
Does not make no sense.
this
type
ain't,
thing.
I'm faded, baby. Don't,
For sure,
I'm not
yeah.
even driving home right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We took an Uber.
Right.
And then what ended up happening is, like, I call him and we're on the phone for what amounts to about 2 hours. And mind you, I just left him. I was just with him. This was Monday. I was with him all weekend. And I knew something was wrong. And because, he had texted me maybe that Wednesday at like 3 a.m. And I obviously when I woke up, I saw it. And I was like, something is wrong. So I went home to Vegas and we hung out all weekend. And so then that Monday comes and boom, I get the call from his fiance. I call him up and he's like, yo, I don't want to be here. He's just talking all this shit. Boom. And so I'm on the phone with him. The cops call me because his fiance called the cops. So they're like, yo, find out where he's at.
Right.
And then my parents call, our siblings call, other distant family calls like, yo, what's going on? And everybody's saying like, get your brother. And I'm like, I'm in fucking LA right now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do nothing but call and like try to talk him down. But I'm not going to tell them like, hey, all right, I can't do this. Like, y'all do it. You know what I mean? For me, it was like, I got it because this is my brother. Like, if you don't listen to nobody, listens to me. And I'm baby bro. But he does listen to me, right? So obviously I failed and I took that like I lost, like I failed. And coming from an athlete mentality, coming from a competitive thing and coming just from my family, I failed everybody, right? So that was like, yo, I'm fucked up. Boom. But that was just a catalyst. That was like, yo, I got to go to therapy now because like you fucked up and this is bothering you, right? But then I started thinking about everything else I had been through. Like my mother died when I was 16, right? So
Right.
For sure.
just
no,
randomly one day. Like she
sure.
just died, had a stroke. Like, what the fuck? Boom, right? But then you start thinking about everything else that happened. So that all that shit happened, and I'm like, all right, nigga, something's wrong with you.
For sure.
Like, you are not okay in the head and emotionally and spiritually or whatever. So I got a therapy.
Dang.
And therapy was amazing. I was like, yo, why the fuck I didn't do this shit 15 years ago? I got a therapy and I let that motherfucker have it, yo. I was cussing her. I wasn't cussing her out.
For sure.
But she was catching all this shit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And
I always say that everyone should go to therapy. Whether you've been
Everybody
through
should go.
something or you haven't, I believe that everyone
one,
should check it out.
there's not one person on this fucking planet that hasn't been through something.
Exactly.
Now, there's degrees to it. I don't give a fuck if you're a billionaire. Your problems may not be the same as mine problems down here, but you have problems nonetheless. And how you go about those problems may be similar to how I go about those problems. Regardless, they're both detrimental.
Yeah, for sure.
And therapy is a good way to learn coping mechanisms. So let's just say you had a perfect life. Nothing happened to you.
For sure.
But this is life, and life is going to beat your ass one day. And you're going to need the tools
For sure.
to cope with that.
Yeah.
You're going to need the tools to be like, all right, this happened to me. And as opposed to going to drugs, alcohol,
Whatever gave
whatever your vice is, instead of going to that, you go to breathing techniques, or you go to therapy, you go to a group thing, you go to writing, you go to drawing, you go to cooking, you go to gym, there's coping mechanisms that you learn, and communication, like you learn how to communicate your feelings. Because let's just take Nipsey for instance, right? And everybody's been giving their thing, but a lot of people it's been confusion and not being able to identify every emotion. But the thing is, you've gone through every emotion dealing with it, right?
For sure.
But you don't know that because you haven't had the practice with a therapist to say like, hey,
this is what I feel.
I'm feeling anger.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm feeling grief. I'm feeling helpless. I'm feeling...
Yeah. Literally identifying that stuff is not as
identifying it
easy
is key,
as
and it's not easy.
No.
It's hard to identify
For sure.
but if you get the tools to identify, you're better able to handle those emotions. I'm angry right now.
Yeah.
How do I calm that down? I'm sad right now. How do I get through the sadness? I feel grief. I feel helpless. I feel, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm feeling, and even in all those, you feel kind of inspired because of what Nipsey was talking about. I feel inspired about what he's saying, with the grief, with the sadness, with the anger, with the hurt, with all of that. So therapy is a way to learn, is a way to develop coping mechanisms, and a way to learn how to handle your emotions. And then that just goes into your regular life.
For sure.
You know, I don't like wherever you work, your family, your friends, is learning how to communicate, learning how to identify issues that you have, and issues that you've gone through, and making sure that doesn't bleed into your future. You know what I mean? Everybody's had some traumatic shit. Like, you might have got your ass whooped the whole time, and you getting a whooping and me getting a whooping may affect both of us differently.
Absolutely.
Me getting a whooping may not affect me that way.
Oh,
you
it
getting a
affected
whooping
me.
might be like,
It definitely affected me.
nigga, I got.
As soon as someone raises their hand,
You
literally,
feel me?
I'm just like, well, hold
and
on,
that's
bro.
a trigger for you, right? But me getting my ass whooped, I'm like, all right, well, it kept me alive.
For sure.
You getting your ass whooped might have not did anything to you. Period.
It did. No, it did.
But I'm just saying, like, just as an example, but just being able to identify how different things affect
sure.
you
For sure.
in comparison to other people helps you communicate better, and helps you identify better, and helps you just navigate through life better.
For sure.
So I know I got off on a tangent.
No,
but
all
no,
good, man.
For sure.
what Can I Be Vulnerable? I've always wanted to tell my story of why I went to therapy, and I've always been very vocal. As soon as I got to therapy, I was on Twitter like, "Yo, therapy's a fucking amazing." Hey, I'm there. Pictures of
There's
shit.
definitely a stigma for it, but
It's definitely a thing, especially in our community, especially among Black men.
for sure. For sure.
And with Can I Be Vulnerable, me and my buddy Brandon Thomas, BT is what I call him. He's the editor of all the videos. We have been wanting to develop something with mental health. We wanted to film something, create something talking about mental health. And we would watch YouTube. We would listen to podcasts, like trying to get ideas. And one day I was on vacation actually in Barbados, and I was on the beach drinking, and it just hit me. Literally, I was on the beach looking at the ocean, and Can I Be Vulnerable just popped in my head. And I was like, yo, I got it.
That's
I got
pretty
it.
good.
It's golden.
That's dope.
It literally just hit me, and I was like, I know what I want to do. I came home, maybe I hit BT like, yo, I know what to do. And a couple of weeks later, when I came home, he came through and we shot it in the backyard. And it started off just for me. Like, I didn't have any plan on like filming other guys.
Right.
Like,
It was a self.
it was something selfish for me to do that helped me heal.
Right.
And it kind of just went from there. So I did mine. I let it loose on social media, and I damn near deleted it like 2 minutes later.
Dang, I feel it.
Really?
Yeah, I put it up. I put it on everything right away. I put it on Facebook, and I put it on Instagram. I put it on Twitter.
And 2 minutes later, you took it down.
2 minutes. No, I didn't. 2 minutes later, I'm like, yo, I'm finna delete this shit.
That happens.
Okay.
That happens a lot, especially with
Like,
people
I'm
that-
finna delete this whole shit.
Right.
It's actually
Fuck this.
a pretty good thing that people sometimes write down some of their most vulnerable thoughts and they immediately just throw it away, tear it up, and just like trash it. It's literally sometimes just getting it out there. That's so important and it's so
Yeah,
helpful.
like-
So helpful. Where exactly is it? What's the name of the Instagram? And what's the name of YouTube?
When I put it up, it was on just me, BJ Williams. Like, you can obviously, I've had social media for years, being in entertainment, so it was on mine personally first.
Okay.
So BJ Williams, you can find it there, but it's obviously on Can I Be Vulnerable now. But when the Can I Be Vulnerable came as a social media thing, it was we had already had like 8-9 episodes up at this point. So when I did mine, that was it. And my son watched it too. So I have a son. He's 16 now.
I dig it, man. It's an
He
example.
watched me do this whole thing. And that was a big thing for me as well. I wanted him to see like a grown man open up and be, you know, talk about emotions and shit. He thinks I'm Superman. I'm like, this nigga Superman. I don't even feel like being your daddy right now. Nigga. Like, I'm going to do it because that's what a parent is supposed to do. But I'm gonna let you know, like, I don't feel like being a parent today.
For sure.
And I know a lot of parents don't feel like fucking being parents.
Period, though.
Period. Like, I don't want to be your mother right now, nigga. Like
Ever.
but
sure.
I'm going to because
Yeah, as
Do
it
what you
should
gotta
be.
do.
it's innate. It's a love thing. It's whatever they call it. But I know a lot of parents are like, I don't, fuck you, little bastard. I don't feel like being your mom or your dad right now.
Unfortunately.
That's not even unfortunate. It's just it's a human thing. You're responsible for an entire human being.
Right, dude. I don't have kids, so I would not.
Yeah, like you're.
I have a bird.
I
and
don't want
sometimes I
any-
put the bird in the cage when I'm like, I'm done with
Yeah, like I don't want any parent to feel like at any point, like I don't feel like being a parent today to feel like that's a bad thing to think. It's not. It's a perfectly normal thing to feel like I don't feel like being responsible for this whole other human being today. But you do it regardless
For sure.
because that's your responsibility, and you love this person, and you muster up the courage or the strength or the love, whatever you know.
Right.
But you thinking like, I don't really feel like being your daddy right now, little motherfucker. I'm not a bad dad for that.
For sure.
What you want to eat, motherfucker?
Yeah. I don't
Like, what you feel like eating today? I'm gonna feed you, even
tell
though.
me.
Yeah, no,
and
no,
it happens all the time. Our parents say like, just go fix something in the kid. That means they don't want to be a parent.
they don't
right
mean
now.
like being a parent right now. Like, yo, can I go to
Go
the ice
play
cream man?
PlayStation.
I ain't got no money right now.
Whenever my mom used to tell me to go outside or go play PlayStation,
She don't feel like being bothered with
definitely
you.
was tired.
And the thing is, it has nothing to do with the kids.
For sure.
It's everything to do with like outside life.
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your job pissed you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, you know, your kids are like, you know, innocent and shit. So
Yeah.
it's like, it ain't you,
Yeah.
but you here.
Well, sometimes it's kid because when I
No,
come to
sometimes
a
it
bad kid, I just clock out. I'm just like, all right, it's
Sometimes it is a
time for
kid.
me to go.
But yeah, so Can I Be Vulnerable came from that. And another thing I forgot, I've been in education either as a tenured teacher or a sub for going on 11 years now.
Dope.
So I see kids all the time. I've coached. I see kids all the time, and I've heard a lot of stories. I've seen a lot of bruises. I've seen poor kids with holes in it, and I've seen kids starve. I've seen special needs kids, obviously, and to hear their stories and to just look at them and I know like kids are bad, right? Boom. So this kid is acting up, and I'm always like, yo, what's going on at home?
For sure.
And I've understood in my experience that a lot of times when kids are acting up at school, that's their only time to let loose. That's the only time for them to be a kid. And the only way they can let that out is just however that behavior comes. Because when they go home, it's gangs, it's violence, it's starving, it's I gotta be the adult, I gotta look after my other siblings. There's maybe my parents aren't even there. I'm in a group home or brother and sister are raising me. They are into whatever they're into. They're still kids. There's so many things that go on that I've seen personally.
For sure.
And when they get to school with other adults, like, I get to be a fucking kid.
Right.
And it manifests itself in like, you know, like wilding out, just like I'm not paying. They want to pay attention.
For sure.
They want structure. They want education, but like,
Trying to have some fun.
listen, I can be a kid. Right now, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck how this gonna come out.
For sure.
Kiss my ass, Mr., Mrs.
Yeah.
Suck dick, eat,
Once-
like all that shit.
I mean, because it works. Like all the kids laugh, and it's great. It's a great feeling. I'm not gonna lie.
So that's that. But
I was that kid for sure.
I think we both were.
But Can I Be Vulnerable developed out of all of those things, and now it's become a full-blown initiative, mental health initiative. And I referenced Nib, like we had full plans on reaching out to Nib. Like I have connects and plugs with Nib, and I wanted to develop it further before I came to, because he's a businessman, a smart one.
For sure.
And I've always been one to do my homework with everything that I do. So before I even approached Nib with, hey, here's a video, look at it, like, nah, here's what we're doing. And I know he would have been down with it because it's right along with what he was already doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're still going to reach out to the marathon. It's just been pushed back to however long it needs to be pushed back.
For sure.
For a while.
sure.
But
just
we
'cause
still-
things are crazy.
Yeah, I still want to, uphold his legacy.
For sure. The marathon
Push-
continues.
Push his vision. We have different lanes, but we're on the same road. You know what I mean? Like I
Definitely.
have my mental health lane. He has everything. That he
Yeah, I
was
was like
doing, right?
everything. Yeah.
But it's on the same highway, the same freeway, the same
sure.
road. We're still going the same direction, and we're still going to reach out. I just want to be able to pick up somewhat of what he was doing, keep it moving with what we're doing, and hopefully we can help his people
For sure.
and help my people,
Us people, our people. Yeah.
our people. But if anybody from CMC is listening, you'll be hearing from us later down the line. Please do your grieving.
For sure.
Get through that. Get through your emotions and heal that however you need to.
Definitely.
There's no rush on it. This is a marathon, not a race.
For sure.
But that's cannot be vulnerable.
Well, so he answered every question we probably had, which is cool because that made
You ain't
our
got to
job
answer no damn questions.
But I guess the one question I still had was, as far as you bringing it to the community, what does that do for the young men? I know that it's, hey, I'm open, and what do you feel like they should be seeing? Because you can say, hey, this is our program and this is what we're here for, but what are you hoping the young men will start doing? Do you want them to start expressing themselves to their women? Do you want them to start just opening up in general at platforms anywhere, or is it just to know that I can when I need to?
You don't have to. When I did mine, I said you don't have to. If you see my video and you say, hey, he did it and I can do it, don't make a video if you don't want to.
Okay.
My point in having this video is to show what it looks like when a man opens up his life or whatever he's gone through, his tragedies, right? So if you follow any mental health pages or psychologists or therapists, they always talk about like, hey, be vulnerable and open up and talk about your feelings. But it's like, what the hell does that look like when you do it? We're just a visual to that. We're the action. We are what it looks like when you open up. That's all we are. And if you can look at this guy that played in the NFL for however many years and you're like, yo,
big old guy.
yeah, like you're manliest of men, you're Superman,
yeah.
and they're millionaires, and they, I've watched him play in the Super Bowl, and he came to my school one time, and if you watch him say, you know what, my dad was gone. Well, shit, my dad was gone.
Right.
You're not too different from that background.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I thought about suicide. You know what? I thought about ending it as well. Or I dogged every woman I had because of this. You know what? I dogged every woman I had because of it. There's a relatability there.
For sure.
And to be able to connect people that you think are up here with the people, and I hate to say it like this, but there's, structure.
It's real. Yeah.
On a hierarchy, there's people up here and there's people down here. If I can connect these, if I can bridge that gap with relatability.
We're just one now.
Like, your problems aren't too different from mine. You know what I mean? You're a billionaire, but shit, your daddy left too.
Right.
But your daddy leaving fueled you. Because there's a few guys that say, listen, my daddy was gone and it fueled me to do this.
Right.
That's how I was able. I took that anger and that hurt and I put it into this. And there are guys whose dad left and they fueled it into something else and they're still in the same position. But if I can get you to look at that and what he did with his energy and how he did it, and you can still change that. You know what I mean? Nip talked about it all the time. Hey, listen, I come from this lifestyle, but I had the vision, I executed it X, Y, and Z, and this is how I did it. Follow it.
Right.
He gave you the blueprint, and like you can't, he didn't hold it. You can do that shit.
Right.
The blueprint is laid in damn near every one of his albums.
For sure.
Actually, it is laid out in his albums.
Literally.
In his interviews, he lays it out. You can do it.
Yeah.
And so if I can bridge that gap and let it be known, like, hey, listen, this is what it looks like when a man says, I grew up in a gang-infested neighborhood. I couldn't wear either color.
Right.
And if I did, I had to act accordingly. But I took all of that and I channeled it into this. And because I channeled it into this, both colors or all colors said, you know what? I see he's focused. We're going to leave him alone. And if you can see that, then you can move amicably as well. You know what I mean? So that was the goal of that. And that's why I picked all my NFL guys or all my professional friends, because they do have a profile. You know, they do have an audience. They do have people that look up to them. They are in their communities. You know what I mean? A lot of those guys are local LA guys. A lot of those guys were at SC when SC was winning national championships. Right. You know, some UCLA guys. I'm a Pac-10 guy myself. It's Pac-12 now, but I'm a Pac-10 guy myself. A lot of Pac-10 guys. And then what's been happening now is that they're referencing their friends that they played with in the league. So these are guys like throughout the country. They're like, hey, listen, my boy has this thing. So, and how this spreads is that, again, I said, nobody comes to my page to look at another dude's video. For sure. I'm going to post them every time regardless, though. Yeah. But how it spreads is that when they post it up on theirs, the dialogue starts in their network.
For sure.
And when another guy posted in his, the dialogue starts on his network. And now all of a sudden they're looking like, oh shit,
What is this?
that's the big homie.
Yeah.
Did X, Y, and Z play college ball? Even though they didn't play pro ball, they played college. This big homie played in college. Like shit, he talking about this. I can do it too.
For sure.
And
Because it
that's how
happens
it
a lot,
spreads.
especially in sports.
You know what I mean?
A large majority of them have issues that I am almost sure that they would like to.
There's a
let
lot
out.
of stories to be told, and I've
sure.
heard a ton of them. Once again, like I said, I come from that world, so I see all these guys. I've trained with them, or I've seen them play. Yeah, my connection to the NFL world and the college world and high school world is vast.
For sure.
I mean, I have a connection with a lot of high-profile Hall of Fame guys, up and coming guys, All-American guys. So I use them, and like we talked about Don Benjamin before this, like America's Next Top Model. One of my guys won America's Next Top Model, and he was an NFL guy, hopeful, college guy, hopeful.
Interesting.
Now he's a successful model actor. He has his story. About his mom going to prison for however many years,
Right.
his dad being killed, growing up in a hardship in Connecticut, being homeless. You know what I mean? He had a powerful story. But now he wins America's Next Top Model. Nigga, you on there with Tyra Banks.
That's dope.
You feel me? Like,
right. It's whatever fuels
For
you.
sure.
it's whatever fuels it. So there's a story for everybody.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can find fuel and relatability into each one of those. And we'll continue to get them as they come.
Yeah, I think I definitely want to pick your brain on one other thing. I think I'm gonna save it for a little bit later. Maybe it's like a after a post show type of thing I want to do, because it's definitely about mental health, and I definitely want to get your opinion on it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna save a little bit of that for
We'll save
later.
that.
But you said you worked with kids.
Yeah.
And there has been a very interesting story.
I dig the segue.
A very interesting story came out that said the kids aren't
They're not
they
having
aren't
sex,
getting it in.
yo.
They're not putting the key inside the ignition. They're not
The kids are not getting
Don't
their
say
freak
that.
on.
they're not
You
oh
can't say
no.
that.
That's,
Look, no, time out, man. Like I said, I've been in education for years, right? I've been in education for almost 11 years now, and people are like, when they talk about kids that aren't in education, they're like, "Oh, you can't talk about." Like, do you don't understand what these kids are talking about in the
No.
classroom?
No. That wasn't because of the children. That was because R. Kelly.
Keys to ignition. R. Kelly. Kids.
I've already forgot about R. Kelly. I don't even want to get
No.
into R. Kelly. Man.
Yeah, let's not.
We're not, but the
Not a
kids
fan.
are apparently not getting into each other, and they say that it is because of
Video games.
video games, man. Video games.
Why is that the blame for everything?
So here's what they did.
I find that appalling. That is rude.
They put video game as the big headline, but they put a couple of subtitles that said like streaming, social media, et cetera, et cetera. Honestly, I think video games are on the lower end. But what do you guys think? First up, LJ, man,
Go
video
ahead.
games. Why are people having sex because of video games?
All right, I've got my theory on this.
What is it?
It's not true, but it's a little true. Okay.
Got it. That counts. It's an alternative
So-
fact. Go for it.
I just know. We have.
It's all good.
Okay.
Thought I had my cup still.
Cool.
We emptied the cup. We emptied the cup.
Anyway, all I know is that if you're taking the time to, spend on the game,
For sure.
whatever game it is, laptop, PC or not,
Mm-hmm.
if you're scrolling up and down, looking at whatever you're looking at, et cetera, and that takes your time away from not having a baby, I'm not understanding what the blame is. It should be, we're glad that, et cetera, is happening because the kids aren't doing this, that, and the other.
Right, I
At
know.
one point, it was,
We're having
my
sex
God,
too much.
it's
Yeah.
Too much sex. And everyone's
Teen pregnancy, etc.
so it's not that there's a blame here or that they're trying to whatever. I just think that they're not realizing the times change for certain things. At one point, LSD and all that was the rage.
Sure.
And I'm talking 70s LSD.
Yeah.
And everyone was having babies. Then it kind of calmed down. And then everyone started having babies again.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
think now that we grew up with everyone having babies. We got out of it.
Teen
High
pregnancy.
five.
Teen mom.
Nope. Yep. So
Kind of.
Teen mom. I was just anyway. That's kind of dying down, and so now it's just chill and relax. It's not Netflix and chill and baby. It's just Netflix and chill.
Exactly.
So
We
I don't
Netflix
think there's
and chilling.
anything to blame. I think the study's bogus. That's what all I'm saying here is that
Low-key.
this is bogus. I just think that they're always trying to find a way to say video games are bad or social media is too much for you or something. And it is to an extent. I've sat there and I've noticed where I'm on my phone for an hour and my neck
Gotta
hurts.
cut it down.
And I'm like, oh,
I started
jeez.
twitching.
Video
Everything.
games are not to blame for that.
No.
They have been preaching condoms, safe sex
forever.
forever.
Literally.
A lot of things from the 90s to the early 2000s were like safe sex. And you have shows like 16 and Pregnant, and you're looking at how these people are living with kids. like, yeah, why would the next generation want to jump into having kids when clearly you've been preaching?
Yep.
And studies show that when schools take out sex education, STDs and pregnancy rates go sky high.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't have sex ed.
When you only preach abstinence, the schools and the communities that preach abstinence, STDs skyrocket.
Legit.
Pregnancies skyrocket.
Because they're still going to have sex. They're still going to do it.
Like,
now they just don't have free condoms.
Because all you're telling these kids is to like, hey, just don't have sex. And they're like, but my innate nature is telling me to fuck the shit out of this
It's
person.
definitely going to happen.
I'm finna get this.
So video games have nothing to do with it.
You know what I mean? So that's one reason. But like I said, like you throughout as times go by, you've been the TV shows, safe sex, teen pregnancy shows, and shows what it looks like when you have a kid as a teen. Then you take economy in a sense. Like kids are broke. Like wages have not gone up since the 90s. But everything else has. The cost of everything costs more, but the wages have not.
For sure.
And y'all been preaching to us, get your education, make sure your money is right, secure everything first before you think about having kids.
For sure.
And they've made all of that difficult.
Definitely.
Go to college, you're in debt.
Easily.
Why the fuck would you raise a kid in debt? I'm not saying you can't, but like if you're just thinking of it as far as like
what they preach.
yeah, if you're thinking about it, what they're preaching, like I have a huge amount of debt, and you want me to have a kid?
Right. Right.
Okay,
right.
well, how much does having a kid cost? Well, the
same
inflation
amount.
price is $250,000 a fucking year.
It's like $2
you want me
million.
to have? So I got 100 and some thousand in debt, and it's another 200 some thousand over the next 18 years. Okay, well, cool. How much is the house?
Too much.
Too much.
Unless you live
Okay,
in
well, cool.
Detroit.
Well, how much is living? Minimum wage? $11.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, how the hell am I going to afford a kid? Everything that you've preached to us has been safe sex, no kids, secure everything, no debt, all that. They're
You're
just
not even supposed to be dating if you're broke.
that's what they say. You're just listening to what the other generations have been preaching to you. Now all of a sudden they want to blame video games.
And that's exactly what it is.
Because it don't take but about 1 minute to get pregnant. It ain't like it ain't like you need, you know what I mean? You don't need 3 days to be fucking to get somebody pregnant.
Yeah, I can
sure.
It's about video games.
match real quick and get that in.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like
What does the article say? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go for it. It said ages 18 to 29 are not having sex, and they said it's just been doubling since 2008. Let me pull it up
Double?
real
You mean
quick.
decreasing? Because there's no doubling on non-pregnancy.
No, it's been
the numbers of people not having sex.
not having sex, not pregnancy. It's
Oh,
just
just
literally
Yeah,
not
like
having
everybody
sex.
preach like, oh, STDs are rampant. Well, I don't want no STDs. I'm not gonna have no sex.
It's a little interesting.
I'm fine.
I mean, comics have existed, right? If we're thinking about the nerd, right? If we're thinking about the people and why they may say that video games are causing it's because people are staying at home and they're to themselves, right? Streaming social media allegedly. But comics and people who read comic books, Dungeons and Dragons, all the types, those type of people, that archetype of people that they're trying to, I guess, all put us boxed into, have existed for a very long time.
And they've had sex.
And they definitely had sex.
Like you have sex with your community. You know what I mean? Like
You know?
the Dungeons and Dragons community has sex with people that love Dungeons and
Still
Dragons.
has sex.
Yeah, like
So I mean, I think
the
that,
RPG community has sex with the RPG.
and I think they're taking away. I think they're maybe not. They're missing a few things, right? They're just thinking what's increasing and what's decreasing. Sex is decreasing. More people are playing video games, so maybe that's it. When in reality, there's a lot of reasons why people playing video games. There could be stress. There could be all types of stuff.
it's
Maybe
the shit that they preached. You've been preaching to us
Exactly.
these things, and we are listening to you. Now you're telling us we ain't gonna have enough kids to sustain society.
exactly. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I do know, however, I'm sorry. What were you about to say? No,
I was not. Go.
I do know a few, what is it, video gamers, nerds, etc. That a lot. I know a lot of video game nerds who really feel like women don't want me because I play video games.
That's not a thing. That can't be a thing.
Okay, so I'm not I'm not in that community
For sure.
full versed, but I do know proximity.
For sure.
So maybe not outside of that world, women don't want to have sex with them, but within that world, the women that are within that world would have sex with you.
I dig it. And plus, wait, you've read, you're a manga guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's in there. That's
That's the one. When you go, hey girl, you read that new My Hero?
you know what I'm saying? No offense. I mean, you're fine. Literally. And then the manga that's in there. You know what I'm saying? So if this guy, first off, just so they don't think I'm capping. What kind of manga are you reading? What kind of stuff? Just throw some names and shit out there.
Rama One Half. I'm still a huge fan to this day. Rama One Half is one of my favorites. I mean, of course, I like the Dragon Ball. You know, the Z's.
Of course.
I'll even go light with like Samurai Pizza Cats. I'll go light with like.
Totally.
Oh, I love Samurai Pizza Cat.
You know, I love Tenchi Muyoki. I love Grappler Baki. Even though I don't know if that has a manga yet, but I do know they have a TV show.
So Netflix thing. Right?
Yeah, no. Yep. Well, Grappler Baki was actually before. You know, this is new. The Netflix one. Grappler Baki is old.
Oh, so it's their Netflix original take
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
yeah.
Damn you, Netflix. You better not make an original take on
know,
a big close fist.
all
Don't
Street-
do it.
I love all the Street Fighter mangas and animes and that they've made in canon or not. I'm just a huge video game geek.
sure.
Shit. Damn. Ninja Scroll.
I dig it.
Afro Samurai.
Of course.
SNK. I'm a huge Neo Geo fan.
Okay.
So World Heroes, fucking Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting.
Look.
Shit.
It's not a-
King of
it's not a
Fighters
joke.
95. All the King of Fighters.
For sure.
We can keep it moving.
Wait, have you done voice acting? Just wondering.
Yeah, I have a voiceover agent as well.
All right.
Okay.
All right, okay. Just wondering.
Damn, I'm going down the list. Shit.
You said comic books. What would you reading for the comic book stuff?
Yeah, I'm a Marvel guy more than DC.
Yes.
Okay. Ding 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 ding.
You win.
I'm a Marvel guy more than DC. I love DC. Don't get me wrong, but I've been a Marvel guy. But the thing is, I was raised in the '90s, right? So like, Wildcats was huge when McFarlane
For sure.
they guys branched off from Marvel and them. So like, and, you know, Wildcats and all that shit. Spawn.
Right.
Fucking, you know, I had all the X-Men's. Obviously, I had the Phoenix Saga. I still might have it somewhere, actually.
I dig it.
I
Pull it
collected
out.
cards.
It's almost time for that.
You know what I mean? I
for
collected
sure.
cards. You know, they was coming out with like limited edition covers and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hope that they would later on,
For
but
sure.
they was making 1 million of them.
I dig it. So what we're saying is, look, mangas reading, anime reading, comic book readers.
Darkstalkers, all that shit.
You getting it in. Stop
No
playing.
excuses.
Don't let these articles.
That's the thing. Like, for me, I've always, maybe this is my father's preaching, but like, whatever you love, you speak about it in confidence, you make other people love it.
For sure.
So like, hey, yeah, I love anime and manga. Like,
For sure.
hey, young lady, like, have you seen this shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me put you on to something that you might not know about, but let me relate it to something that you might love. Like,
For sure.
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, every
Just gotta
manga and
finesse.
anime has themes that are just regular TV shows. Like, lady, you watch fucking
Something.
The Hills or whatever.
Something.
You
Yeah.
watch reality TV, so you ain't no better than me.
For sure.
So we can relate this shit. God damn it! This
You
shit's
watch
smooth.
Gossip Girl. There's something.
Yeah,
in
you
there.
feel me? Like, watch this nigga turn in some hot water and turn into
For
a
sure.
cat.
Exactly.
And that shit's funny.
So one thing I want to ask, tying in the previous conversation
For
with this
sure.
one, being vulnerable as a nerd and someone, I guess, who I don't want to say version, but
Right.
you know,
That's it.
For sure.
how. And I don't want to say how do you be vulnerable because I think one of our very first podcasts were, you know, as a black nerd, to be grooming and like not to be ashamed of it. Everything you just, you know, said.
Right.
Confidence, basically.
How do you be vulnerable as a nerd? I guess, and I don't want to say at a con because a con's easy. You can be vulnerable at a con because everyone's around you, as you just said.
Right,
That's your
right.
community.
You're within your
For sure.
community.
But how do you break out of when you're not in your community? How do you break
That's
out
true.
like you just said, hey, little lady? How do you be
Little
vulnerable?
lady. Don't say little lady.
You can say, is she little?
Little lady.
No.
Being sure about yourself and know what you're talking about.
There it is.
And when you hear the term nerds, you have a stereotypical,
Unfortunately.
you know,
There's a stigma. There's
look
a
to
connotation.
it.
Yeah.
There's a sound to it.
You think about the
Yeah.
big guy with the neck beard, sweaty,
you-
piece of stains
you know
on his
what I mean?
shirt.
Like you have a vision when you say nerd, and I play games all day and I read manga. But
Comic book guy from Simpsons.
if you're confident within yourself, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. And if you don't like it, lady, whatever.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, but you have to be confident within yourself and know, like, hey, this shit is cool, and it is cool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of films
Take it.
are made from these materials, from graphic novels.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
They wouldn't know that. Why? Because they don't read graphic novels, but you
sure.
do.
For
So
sure.
how can you figure out how to relate both or how to connect the dots? Like, hey, you love that movie? Guess where that movie came from? This.
Yeah.
You know, Hateful Eight
For sure.
comes from Magnificent Seven, which comes from a samurai film. You know what I mean?
more
Like
you know.
all that relates.
I
more
did
you
not
know.
know that. I would love to see the samurai film.
It's I can't think of the name, bro. I
That's
think it's
okay,
like
I'll look it
the
up.
Samurai 7 or something like that.
Sounds about right.
But you know what I mean? Or the Big Boss, the Bruce Lee film. There's
Mm-hmm.
many of films that are based off the Big Boss, for
sure.
Chinese Connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you just have to find a way to relate to it. But
Just being confident.
just being confident, in
Especially
yourself.
now. Now it's so easy. There is no
man.
problem.
There's no reason why.
Literally, every Marvel movie is like literally the biggest
have to
movie
go
of all
see it all
time.
all time. Like this is let you know. And another like. For some odd reason, because we all have these insecurities, like, hey, I like Zelda.
For sure. Just
And I
don't mumble
think- I
it. Don't
think
mumble it
nobody
when you
else
say
likes
it.
Zelda. Hey,
Yeah.
I like Zelda.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Now,
You gotta say it with your
now you're not
chest.
sounding confident.
Yeah, I don't want to like Zelda no more. I don't even care what you're talking about no
You
more.
know what I mean? I was like, and they probably think like, damn, I like Zelda too. But he probably
Right.
think I'm a nerd if I like Zelda.
Yeah, it's
I ain't
weird
just trying
now.
to test- It's weird now. But like,
sure.
no, hey, you play Zelda?
You know what I'm saying? Something.
Link is, and however you describe that, but as long as you're confident within yourself 1st because if they don't like Zelda or they find it weird if you can't relate it to them, so they understand what you love. Because when you are in courtship, I may not be into everything that you're into, and you're not into everything I'm into. But if you love it and I like you, I'm gonna like you with you.
I dig it.
Just make it relatable to me.
For sure.
Yeah.
How to Date a Nerd podcast coming soon to a iPhone near you. But look, so every last 10 minutes of the episode, we usually run down a few topics on just random shit that happens. Just do a couple of minute, 2 sentences
Right.
on how we feel about it. So we're gonna do that real quick, and then we're gonna wrap it up with a few more plugs. We don't know where all of your
We
your
don't
stuff
know
is.
you.
And then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But let
do
me
it.
see. I'm gonna throw a little bit of background. Do you have any background music?
We have all that.
I'll throw that back there. That counts.
Just warning, I'm gonna sit out. We're gonna ask him and take his takes on it.
What you gonna do 1-2 minutes each around?
We'll
You're not
see.
sitting out of nothing.
We'll see.
Burger King. They're bringing back Pokemon toys. Remember Pokemon toys?
I still have some.
They're bringing them back.
The gold little thing with the.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go to Burger King.
I would claim ownership of Pokemon, man. I was there when it first popped off.
There it is. All right. Turn up. You gonna go see
The master.
Detective?
You goddamn right. I'll be right there
Pokemon
front
Go?
and fucking center.
Do you
Huh?
play Pokemon Go, the little mobile game?
I was playing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
I
we
was
all
playing-
we
for
all
sure.
played it.
Oh, I was what? I was trying to get all my shits.
One of they had a tournament when one of the Melee players quit because one of the Jigglypuff or something was just jumping around basically. So in a tournament, people are watching. The dude quit because the other person was running. Think that's okay? Not okay? Anyone's wrong? Anyone's right?
So he didn't want that fade.
The guy who didn't want the fade is wrong. There should be no.
Which
running.
one didn't want the fade? The one that quit the tournament, or the one that
who's
was running within
one
the
who was
game.
Running.
If we are already in battle and you're running from the fade. Like
Okay, so he didn't want the fade.
I'm with him. If you're
Look,
running, if you're,
I'm not gonna chase you to fight me.
I kind of agree. I get it.
how many
Hey.
stocks was left? Like, was he up a stock or something?
He was up one stock. He was literally going
That's
to
what it
waste
was.
the 3 minutes
That's
until
what it was.
he won by like
Come
default.
on, man. Nah, yo.
TKO.
We are in a battle right now. You got into the I know you want to win.
For sure.
But come on, man.
I think it's okay if you're in your house with your friends playing for money.
That's fine. But you're in a tournament.
But you're in a tournament,
In a
people
public
are
space.
watching. I paid money to see this. I would literally fight you if you
Like,
had to
nah,
do
we
it.
gotta throw hands for real.
Legit.
Like,
not okay.
put your phone down.
So PlayStation Store now allows refunds from pre-orders,
That's
but
cool.
it's only if the game is broken and you can't pre-install it. So you can just buy it. You can literally buy it. As soon as you install it, void.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Games
Yeah.
break? All this damn technology and games don't work?
Games don't load up. Anthem.
So like you gotta like blow on it like Nintendo cartridges?
Might as well.
Shit, I'm not even gonna get into
I'm old school, man, so
So Marvel versus DC, one of the Mortal Kombat directors said that he wants to make the game. He wants to make Marvel versus DC a video game.
I want that to happen too, but is that going to happen?
I don't know if I want that.
Who's getting the money?
Don't even
Who's
want it
getting
to
the
happen?
money? Who's getting the money?
They had Marvel vs. DC comics.
Yeah, no, they had the how do you say it? They had some word for it in the 90s.
Really?
Like yeah, no, they combined
Like
like
legit.
you know, like Hulk and
Yeah, they
Batman.
fought. Like Captain
No,
America fought Batman.
No, they combined as the heroes. Like I think Batman and Hulk
I seen
combined.
that too.
But they did have them fight too.
Yeah, they had.
And it's like Emma Glenn or something like. But yeah, they had them fight each other, combined. Like you had Captain America.
I seen it.
And
I seen Wolverine and Batman. That was one of the coolest things I've ever
yeah,
seen.
they
in
had
my
like
life.
Spider-Man and somebody else mix. Superman and like
I'll have to look that up.
Hulk,
Yeah,
I don't know what you're
you
talking
definitely
about.
should.
like Emma Glenn or something like that.
It's
All I'm
something
gonna say
weird.
is real quick. There's Warner Brothers, there's Disney, there's NetherRealm Studios, and then whoever else is going to be involved with that.
For sure.
Who's getting the money? No one. And that's why it's not happening.
I don't know if I want Marvel vs. DC as a game.
I want it, but I don't know.
What style? Just last thing on this. What style would it be? A Mortal Kombat style? Would it be Street Fighter style? Like Marvel vs. Capcom style?
Marvel vs. Capcom, they did it.
Fan.
That's hard.
Because
Because that's Warner Brothers and Disney again. That's the fight. They're
this is the
gonna be
thing
like,
about
no.
my Mortal Kombat for me. Mortal Kombat only works for Mortal Kombat. Like I didn't like
What,
DC.
Injustice?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
That's it.
Mortal Kombat was a lightning in a bottle and should just remain that. I think with Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom kind of, visual.
I feel it.
works with different. Or maybe Virtual Fighter.
Not
Like
a
a
fan.
Tekken.
Tekken, maybe. Not a fan of Virtual Fighter.
Virtual
It
Fighter.
came out on Sega Saturn and Dreamcast.
Hard
Like,
pass on
yeah.
Virtual Fighter.
I ain't gonna front. I was in the arcade Virtual Fighter my ass off.
Marvel, do you think for these new trailers that came out, do you think Marvel is like purposefully misleading in the trailers? So like
Yes.
shit that's happening in
Yes,
trailers is
you
not
have
gonna
to.
happen.
You have to.
They did it with the Hulk.
They have to.
So that's the only thing I'm going on.
You
is
have
the
to.
Hulk.
You have to mislead them.
I really hope that. I hope every single thing in the trailer is
It's
fake.
wrong. It's no.
No, I think it is. I think everything that happened in the well, except for when they all go to the
Ship.
Yeah,
Little thing.
yeah, the little shit. And
No
it's-
spoilers at all. But I spoiled the movie for myself. Unfortunately, I read a whole leak about the whole movie, and yeah, the movie's gonna be completely different.
It better be.
I really hope
I
so.
want it to. It has to be though. They have to mislead because everybody's looking for the league. Everybody's looking to break that, and I hate that people do that. I hate that they're looking to leak that out. Like,
damn.
there's something so nice about me, the experience of me going to the theater and finding it out
Bruh,
as I watch.
I
I
just
don't
want-
want to fucking read it because you feel like you need to be first about some shit.
Man, you want that click. I don't want to know anything.
Yeah,
going
like I
into
don't
it.
need your click, dude. Like, yo, don't spoil it.
Bruh. So Fortnite said they want it to be as big as, like the director and the CEO said they want it to be as big as Facebook. They want Fortnite, the video game. They want to expand and just become like a thing.
Remember
Full
when you
on thing.
said this was gonna be the last season, or this will be the last year, or
like last year I said that shit?
Yeah, man.
I was very wrong.
I'm sure they're gonna be like Facebook.
I'm sure every single one of your kids at school are talking about Fortnite. Do they do the dances?
Not anymore. Last year.
Really?
Yeah. Not.
What grades?
I've done it. I sub now, so I do it all. It'll die because the kids aren't doing it like that no more. They still play it just out of habit,
For sure.
but they're not talking about Fortnite like they want.
All my kids are, but they're fifth graders.
And once the kids stop talking about it, because you age out of things,
For sure.
and I don't think companies take into account that your demographic that you grabbed,
they're growing.
they grow. Same
For
thing
sure.
with music, take like 50 Cent.
Yeah,
The people that grew up on 50 Cent aged out of that.
for sure.
He's still dope. He's still amazing. But like, you're not gonna get no new fans.
ain't doing the
that.
music
not,
no more.
Not in droves. You're not gonna get like new fans in droves like that.
For sure.
It's
For
very
sure.
hard to get new fans. Like
All right.
Prince was the same way.
I'm waiting for Fortnite to fall, so it's all good.
will.
So Apex Legends released allegedly like some type of update or
They
something,
did, and I just got it, and I'm happy about it.
and they quite possibly deleted everyone's shit.
I'm so happy.
Did you got deleted?
Not yet. I want to
Oh.
see. I did the update. I'm waiting. Now, when you say deleted, I don't want coins and money and everything. Well, that's great. Then that means I'm getting a refund for certain stuff.
Oh yeah, you spent actual money.
Yes,
I don't know what
That's
Apex
true.
is, so I'm out this
Season
conversation.
pass and stuff.
I'm getting free stuff again. And look, the only reason I'm down for the
For sure.
reset or whatever is I'm already level 100, and it's a little disappointing not seeing my bar go up anymore.
I dig it.
I would
All
like
right.
to see the numbers flip up.
I don't know nothing about Apex, man.
Final
so-
thing, because you guys still, I'm not fulfilled in this Joker conversation. All right, we're not
do
gonna
it.
go for long, I promise. So, what if his origin story?
Thank you. Mercy.
Piece of cake.
Reaper on the left.
I understand. I get the idea. Огонь по готовности. Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Oh, I wish I didn't waste my immortality field. I can almost always save it for an ult at this late in the game. Thank you. Off it.
Time to change things up. Bob, do something!
Man, kill for her? How you getting stuck on that? Is that it? That's it. That's it.
Enemies over there.
Go hop in there.